Welcome to the CVOR podcast. This podcast is made for those CVOR operators such as landscapers, electricians, towing operations, bus companies, trucking companies, anyone who has a CVOR, wants to know everything that there is to know about operating a CVOR company. I'm your host, Chris Harris. Thanks for joining me every week. Welcome to another episode of the CVOR podcast. This particular podcast episode has a great question. Chad Vance from ReadyChek sent this question in to me. Now, if you don't know it, I'll put a link in the show notes down below. Chad's a friend, and ReadyChek offers a great component if you need to do vehicle inspections, or if your drivers need to do vehicle inspections and you don't go beyond the 160 kilometer radius, you've got to check out ReadyChek. He really helps you get your program up and running and compliant with the law. And by the way, if you use SD22, Chad's giving you a little gift, all right? He gives you 30 days for free to try the product out. Anyways, Chad's question. What was it, Chad? You said, when do I, as a CVOR operator, have to notify the ministry about changes to my CVOR fleet? For example, vehicles added or removed, or the kilometers traveled in a year. I would also add to that any ownership changes or director changes if you're an incorporation. When do you have to notify MTO and the CVOR component of all of these changes? Well, the answer lies in the Highway Traffic Act. In the Highway Traffic Act, the regulation is 424/97. You can look this up yourself, and I'll just read it. It's not that long and it's not that boring, so stay with me. Specifically, number 6 under the regulation says, every holder of a CVOR certificate shall notify the registrar of the holder's fleet size for the previous 12 months within 15 days. All right, within 15 days after the day of the holder's fleet size is 20% greater or less than it was the fleet size that was last reported to the registrar. So the first thing is, if your fleet size changes by 20% either up or down, you only have 15 days to report that to the registrar. So that's very important. The second one is number 7. Every holder of a CVOR certificate shall, within 15 days of receiving the request from the registrar, notify the registrar of the total kilometers traveled by the commercial vehicles operated by the holder in Ontario for the previous 12 months. So when the MTO reaches out and says, hey, how many kilometers did you travel in the last 12 months? You only have 15 days to notify them. Now, remember that MTO they are well versed in trucking and in trucking habits. What am I trying to say? Well, if your fleet size shrunk by 20%, they might expect your kilometers traveled to shrink by about 20% as well. Or conversely, if your fleet size grew by more than 20%, then your fleet size should grow by 20%, approximately. Now, the reason you want to keep your kilometers accurate, especially when you are growing, is that your overall violation rate, the OVR, is made up of 3 components: the collisions, the convictions, and the inspection components. Well, collisions and convictions are each 40% of the OVR, and those 2 collisions and convictions are both calculated by kilometers traveled per month. So this means that 80% of your overall violation rate the calculation is based on the kilometers traveled per month. If you are inaccurate with your report to the MTO, then your overall violation rate is also not correct. Especially if your number is too low, then your OVR might be higher than it should be. So you really want to keep your kilometers accurate. I tell all my clients to keep it accurate to within 20%. The fleet size by Highway Traffic Act regulation must be accurate to within 20%, and you only have 15 days to report any major changes. All right, so great question, Chad of ReadyChek. Thanks so much for that. And your free gift is on its way. For other people, don't forget there's a free gift. Listen to the promo at the end. All right, thanks, Chad. Talk soon. Safety Dawg is out. And this week's question for you people that are doing the CVOR practice test, this week's question is, what is the legal requirement for an operator of a commercial motor vehicles to have a safety management system? That's a great question. What is the legal requirement for an operator of a commercial motor vehicles to have a safety management system? Is it every operator must have a safety management system? Or it could be only large operators require safety management systems. Maybe a safety management system is recommended and good practice, however, it is not required. Or it might be a safety management system is recommended for operators with poor safety records only. Well, the correct answer to that question, a safety management system is recommended and a good practice. However, it is not required. That is the correct answer. However, if you do want to establish a safety program, please reach out, Safety Dawg, and I would be happy to give you a hand. That's this week's question. Good luck on writing that CVOR practice test. And don't forget, there is a link in the show notes below to get my copy of the CVOR practice test so that you are properly prepared. Hey, thanks for sticking with us. This is the CVOR podcast where we talk about everything CVOR related. If you're getting value, please click like and subscribe. And don't forget about our contest. Leave me a comment, and if I choose your suggestion for content on another episode, I will be thankful and give you access to the CVOR driver file course. All right, so leave me a comment with suggestions for topics. All right, that's it for this week. Safety Dawg and the CVOR podcast is out.